Alright, so I've had people ask me how to build what I call my triangle pens, and I've been meaning to do it, and I just happen to need some pens, and I already had some panels put together, so I said, you know what, I'm going to try and get one done today. We'll see how far we get. It's wind's picking up and there's clouds rolling in, but we'll see what we can do. Now, the basic components of the pen consist of two triangular panels, which are 4 foot wide at the base and 4 foot tall, approximately. I made these out of cedar fence pickets because that's what I have. The ones I had back home I made out of plywood. And basically this back one, you got a board going down the center for support, and then you've got a board tacked on here for support and to give you something to staple your wire to. The other end has an opening in it. Other than that, it's constructed basically the same way. You can make your opening however it works for you. These openings are designed to line up with the center of a 55-gallon barrel that's laid on its side. That's why I've got it positioned where it is. I'll check the video where I showed how to make these panels, and I think I gave the measurements on all that. Alright. Now besides that, we've got an 8 foot 2x4 that's been ripped down the middle, so it's a little bit over 2x2. And then we've got two 10 foot 1x4s. And those are going to be your bottom runners. If you want to beef it up using 2x4s, you can. Both of these have about a 1-inch hole drilled in them, and they got a 45-degree approximately angle cut off. It doesn't have to be a specific angle necessarily. Now you can see the wood here split, so I'm going to end up driving some screws in to reattach that. Basically, you're going to want to lay your stuff out like this, and then the next step is going to be to start attaching everything. First step in assembling this is you're going to drill a pilot hole in the top of your back panel, and you're going to use a screw, nice long one, and you're going to drive it through to the 2x2 that makes up the top. Okay, so at this point I'm about to put the screw into the 2x2. This is typically how I do this by myself, is I just kind of angle them together and use the ground to hold the other end, and then I drive it in. And if you can, it's always a good idea to put more than one screw in, but you also want to watch that you don't crack the wood. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other panel. Okay, so now what we got to do is we got to attach our bottom runners. We're going to pre-drill the holes on these as well. Now when you're screwing these ones in, you don't want to go into the middle here. You want to get some of the wood on both sides, at least with one of them. Typically I like to try to stagger it so I get both pieces of wood. Right now, this is not squared up, so I'm going to have to lift that other end and put some shims under it because I'm working on an uneven surface. I can push this backboard just a little bit. You don't want to do it too much. Now that corner is ready to go. Next step is to attach over here. But to do that, I need to pull a measurement of the tops because right now it is 8 foot inside to inside. I'm gonna go, you don't want to go off of this board, you want to go off of the next one because that's your outside edge that is screwed to. And we are sitting at 97 and an eighth. So then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to mark this one at 97 and an eighth. That'll be the outside edge. important to get the bottom of your panel and the bottom of your runner flush. Otherwise you're going to be digging into the ground when you try and pull this. So now we've got that side done, we can go ahead and do the other side. It's going to be the exact same process. There you go, there's the basics of the frame. The next step is to make the walk-in door, which is the exact same process as the doors I milled on my stag pens. So just check that video out, you'll see that. After that, we'll put the upright on to secure the door to it, and then we'll put the chicken wire on. Now, I've got my door made, so it's time to hang that. I'll show you the trick to doing that here. Ideally, I want this edge to be flush with this edge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up like this. I'm going to try and line it up. I'm going to put a couple screws in it to tack it in place. Alright, now next step is to attach the board that you'll be putting your hinges on. You'll notice this one's a bit long, but I can always trim that down. What I want to do is pull this up here to where it's nice and flush, and I'm going to tack it. Another one up here. Before I tighten it down, I want to pull this up here and see where I'm sitting. Alright, that looks pretty good. So I can go ahead and put my other two screws in. I can put my strap hinges on. I like using 3-inch strap hinges. And I don't know why I prefer the strap hinges. Well, take that back. I do know why I prefer the strap hinges to the rectangular hinges. And that's because it goes across the board instead of up the same section of grain where it can split. Always try to tuck them in under the wire. These in, I want to pull this board up so that it's flush. Just like that. We'll get one down here now. Put your hinges, you want to make sure that your barrel of the hinge is on the same side of the split. You don't want that one on this side and this one over here like that, because it's not going to open right. Now it's time to put the strap not the strap, the hasp on. And I'm going to use this old one, which I don't know where the screws are. So I'm going to have to use my wood screws for it. I'll just have to trim them off. What I'm going to want to do is approximate where the middle of the door is. And this thing, I got to hammer it a little bit more here because it's bent. Alright, that's about as good as it's going to get. I'm going to want to approximate where it's going to end up. And then I'm going to want to put this piece on first. So about there. Get one in here. Okay, that looks about right. Go ahead and I'll put the others in. And once I get these in, since they're going to be sticking out, I'll just take my angle grinder and cut them off. Now to hang this, what I'm going to do, take this snap hook here, just snap it on to kind of keep it in place for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this one in the middle first. Now that I got that one in, I can start popping these here. That might have just sunk into the wood there. Okay, so now I can open this up and cut them off. Oh yeah, that would have drove all the way in. The reason I'm using these screws that are so long is because I don't have the shorter ones handy, and I don't have time to run to town to get some more. I do have a little magnet on a stick to pick up these cutoffs though, because I don't want them in my tires. There we go. Now, I'm not going to put the little door down here today. Instead, I'm just going to cover over that with a temporary piece of wood because I don't have a barrel for this one yet. And it's easier to put the barrel on before you put that little door on. I'll just cover that up real fast here. Alright, so now that is secure, as you can see. So the only parts that I have left is to cut this off and put 2 pieces of wire on, and this pen is done, other than attaching the barrel. I usually like to have 2 people to put the wire on. It just always makes it easier, but you can put it on by yourself. I'll start at this end over here and I'll pull it that direction. I always try to tack it at the top first. You're going to want the top of your wire run about center of your 2x2. This second staple I'm not going to drive all the way in yet. Just because I need it to be able to allow the wire to move, but it's just there to tack it in place for the moment. Now I'm going to come down and do the bottom. Now I'm going to go all the way along here. I'm going to try and alternate putting the staples in between this board and these boards out here so that I don't risk splitting them as bad. As usual, I skip about 2 in between every staple. Here I'm not going to be able to do that, so I'm just going to have to stay on that other side. Now I can stretch it across the other side and I'll tack it at the top again. Okay, now it's tacked in place, and I personally like to go across the bottom first because it's easier to stand up here on the other side like this and stretch your wire up to staple it in place than it is to try and pull it down. And you're going to want to maintain the same line all the way across the bottom. So I'm basically sitting here at 1 hexagon, so that's what I'm going to try and maintain all the way down. Keep in mind as you're stapling that you want to pull it so that you've got the same hexagon all the way down, but you also want to pull the direction of the roll of your wire. That's the reason why you only tack it at the top and the bottom when you're stretching it like that, because then if you have to adjust it to take the slack out, you can. bottom secure, I can start working on the top. And like I said, I just got to pull it up and over as I go. Don't forget, chicken wire, it's quite stretchable. It's a soft metal. You'd be surprised how far you can stretch it if you really have to. Sometimes I'll just kind of grab it a little ways down the line like that, give it a tug. That pulls some of the stretch out of it, makes it reach easier. You're not having so much tension right where your staple is. There you go, now the top's up. This is part of the reason why I don't cut this off, is because I wait till the very end to cut that roll off. Reason being is if I have to make adjustments, you know, if you're trying to pull the slack out and then you find out that you've cut it, then you end up cutting it twice. And if you're short, you don't have as much leverage if you've already cut it. Now I just got to cut that wire off. When you're cutting the wire, you want to make sure that you're cutting it right in the middle. You don't want to cut it too close to this end, because then it just comes apart. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the last bit of wire on. I'm going to start at the back end here just like last time. There's the finished product. Other than putting the barrel on, I will do a separate video of how to install the barrel when I get one. For now, what I'm going to use is a barrel that's cut in half with a little door in it, and I'm going to stick it inside of the pen for shelter, and that'll work just fine. Thanks for watching. Everybody have a good one.